Imagine, just for a second, that you are walking into your very first day of a highly competitive graduate program.
Oh man, the stress of that first day.
Right. Or maybe you're sitting down for like an incredibly expensive, exclusive professional seminar. You know the exact feeling.
Oh, absolutely.
You've probably got a brand new notebook,
Right.
maybe a freshly opened pack of highlighters,
Yep, the essentials.
and your pen is hovering right over the paper. You're absolutely ready, muscles tensed, to frantically write down every single word that drops from the professor's mouth.
Because, I mean, that is what it means to study, right?
Exactly. You capture the data, you memorize the data, and you conquer the class.
It is the completely universal posture of, the quote-unquote good student.
Yeah.
Head down, hand cramping up, trying to essentially become a human tape recorder for fear of missing a single drop of wisdom.
Right, because we don't want to miss anything.
Exactly. We are completely conditioned to believe that the physical classroom is fundamentally a place for data collection.
Exactly. But today, we are going to ask you to put the pen down
Drop the pen.
because the material we are diving into today completely shatters that whole image.
Really does.
We are doing a deep dive into Lecture 14D40. It's an incredibly unconventional framework that redefined what it actually means to study in the modern era.
And, well, let me tell you, it goes hard against the grain.
It totally does. If you follow the traditional advice, this paradigm argues that you aren't just being inefficient. You might actually be making a fool of yourself.
It is a really radical perspective.
Yeah.
The core premise we are exploring today is that the traditional view of studying the frantic note-taking, the rote memorization, the academic isolation is just entirely outdated.
Like a relic of the past.
Yes, the physical classroom is no longer a place for gathering raw information. Instead, it is an environment that you need to learn how to properly navigate.
Right?
You basically have to learn how to play in it.
Okay, let's unpack this, because telling someone who just paid tens of thousands of dollars in tuition to go to class and quote-unquote play sounds like a recipe for failing out.
It sounds totally counterintuitive.
Right. But the framework starts this redefinition by attacking the exact cognitive habit we just talked about, which is verbatim note-taking.
Yes, and it explores the actual mechanics of why that habit is so destructive.
Destructive, that's a strong word.
It is, because think about it. When you are constantly writing and writing while someone speaks, your brain isn't actually processing the information.
You're just a machine.
Exactly. You are bypassing comprehension entirely. The auditory signal goes into your ear and travels straight down your arm to your hand to be transcribed on the paper.
Totally skipping the brain.
Right. It skips the critical thinking centers of your brain. You are acting as a stenographer, not a student.
I mean, think about it. You know those people who show up at the end of the semester with a notebook as thick as a phone book?
Oh, yeah, bursting with pride.
Exactly. They plop it on the desk, using it as this physical proof of their incredible hard work.
Oh, look at all these words I wrote.
Right. But this perspective argues that boasting about a thick notebook is essentially broadcasting that you did everything backwards.
It's actually a badge of failure, in a way.
Yeah, because you spent 100 hours documenting a room you were never mentally present in.
Yeah.
So instead of transcribing, the recommendation here is to basically sketch the class.
And sketching is the perfect analogy for the cognitive shift required here.
As so.
Well, you are there to catch the broad strokes. You are actively assessing things, like what is the professor's demeanor?
Right, the vibe.
Yeah, the vibe. What underlying assumptions are driving this lecture? What is the overarching theme?
So you're not writing down every specific date and formula.
Exactly. You observe the behavior, you take in the physical environment, and you absorb the atmosphere.
Okay.
You make quick conceptual outlines of the framework so you can recall the structure later, and then you immediately bring your attention back to the room.
So as a listener, think about it like this. It's like you scored front row tickets to see your absolute favorite band live in this beautiful concert hall.
Oh, I love this analogy.
Right. But instead of watching the musicians, feeling the energy of the crowd, observing how the guitarist interacts with the drummer, and, actually listening to the music,
You're doing something else.
you spend the entire 2 hours staring down at the sheet music in your lap,
Yeah.
frantically trying to verify that they are playing the right notes.
Wow. Yeah, that's exactly it.
You technically documented the concert, but you totally missed the live event.
What's fascinating here is the fundamental shift in where knowledge actually resides today.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, historically, going back centuries, The professor's brain was quite literally the only place to get this highly specialized information.
True. There wasn't an internet.
Right. You had to transcribe it because if you didn't capture it in that exact hour, it was gone forever. The library might not even have a book on it.
So you had to be a human tape recorder.
Exactly. But that is no longer our reality. Information scarcity is entirely solved.
We have all the data in our pockets now.
Yes. The classroom is now merely a place for context, clues, and frameworks. The heavy lifting of factual gathering happens entirely elsewhere.
Okay, right. But I have to push back here on behalf of anyone listening who actually has to pass a final exam.
Fair enough.
Because if we agree that transcription is dead, that leaves a massive vacuum.
It does seem that way.
Like if I am sitting in an advanced graduate seminar on macroeconomics, and I only have a few light sketches of the broad themes, how on earth am I supposed to write a comprehensive thesis?
Right. How do you get the facts?
Exactly. How do I pass the class if I don't actually have the granular details?
This raises an important question, and it is exactly where the paradigm shifts from human memorization to artificial intelligence.
Ah, AI, of course.
Yep. You don't fail the class because you don't stop studying. You just shift where and how the studying happens. You take those conceptual sketches you made in the classroom, you go home, and you leverage AI to do the heavy factual lifting.
Which makes sense because the reality of modern education is Stark professors simply cannot find every specific granular detail for you anymore.
They just don't have the time.
They don't have the time, they don't know your specific blind spots, and frankly, they don't have the computing power, but AI does.
Exactly.
So you go online, you feed your conceptual sketches to the AI, and you give it a prompt based on your classroom experience.
Right.
You say something like, we explored this broad framework today regarding inflation and fiscal policy in the 1970s. Please find the specific historical data points, the counter-arguments, and the granular details so I can fully understand this field.
It is recognizing the comparative advantage of the tools at our disposal.
Yeah.
The professor gives you the map, they give you the conceptual boundaries, the philosophical approach, but the AI acts as the ultimate research assistant.
It fills in the map.
Yes. It explores the terrain, gathers the specific data points, and brings them back to you so you can organize and comprehend them on your own time.
And there's this one quirky, deeply charming detail in the material we are reviewing.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
It's so good. When the AI brings you all this synthesized information, you are specifically instructed to literally thank it.
Yes.
You are supposed to type or say, AI, thank you.
Yes. The instruction is quite explicit about not treating the AI like a mindless, invisible servant.
Which is wild.
It is, but it notes that there is a proper way to govern machines, which really speaks to the psychology of the user.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because on the surface, typing thank you to a piece of software sounds eccentric, maybe even a little absurd.
A bit like you're talking to your toaster.
Right. But thanking a machine reveals a much deeper psychological shift. It prevents us from becoming thoughtless consumers of information.
It forces a moment of appreciation.
Exactly. But wait, let me ask you this. If the AI is explaining the entire subject to us based on a few vague notes, isn't this dynamic dangerously close to just outsourcing our brains to an algorithm?
That's a very valid concern.
Like, is the AI our actual professor now?
You're completely right to spot that risk, but there is a clear distinction being made here. AI is not the professor. AI is the knowledge mentor.
Knowledge mentor, okay.
The human is still fundamentally in the loop. You see, the AI provides the raw material, but you still have to ask it the right questions.
And those questions come from the sketches.
Exactly. Those questions are generated entirely by the in-person sketches you made.
Wow. Okay.
If you didn't observe the professor's emphasis or the specific tension in the room during a certain topic, you won't know what prompt to give the AI.
That makes so much sense.
You still have to synthesize the answers it gives you. By outsourcing the rote data collection to AI at home, you free up your cognitive load in the physical classroom for something far more valuable than transcription.
Which brings us to a massive, glaring question.
What's that?
If the AI is handling all the factual knowledge, the data gathering, the historical dates, the formulas, why physically go to a university or a seminar at all?
A very good question.
Like, why pay the tuition to sit in a brick building if the data is basically free at home?
Right.
The framework answers this by entirely shifting the focus away from academic data and toward human capital. It uses an amazing metaphor, the quality of the water.
Ah, the water quality. It is such a powerful way to conceptualize the unseen ambient value of a physical institution.
Yeah, explain that a bit more.
Well, cheaper tuition or lower tier seminars might place you in a less advantageous environment, while expensive, exclusive institutions usually place you in quote unquote good water.
Okay.
And the mechanism that makes the water good isn't the prestige of the buildings or the size of the library, it is the high quality peers swimming in it with you.
So institutions like Oxford or Harvard aren't valuable because of their syllabus. They are valuable because of their water. The argument here is remarkably blunt. If you manage to get into a globally light space, and you later brag that you went there merely to study academic subjects, you are a fool.
A complete fool, according to this lecture.
Right. You completely miss the point of the institution. You go because the people who share that physical space with you are the ones who will eventually shape the world.
The sociology of this is truly fascinating. In these highly curated environments, you will find the children of immense wealth, future innovators, and people with deeply entrenched influence.
The material actually calls them the sons of kings.
Yes, the sons of kings. What the physical university provides is a rare temporary window where traditional societal and class hierarchies are artificially flattened.
Exactly. It's this unique bubble in time, because out in the real world, you can't just walk up to a billionaire's kid or a future world leader and strike up a conversation.
No, of course not.
There are gatekeepers, there's social strata, there are like a dozen secretaries in the way.
It's a
But in the university environment, you are all just students. You are on an entirely equal playing field.
You're all suffering through the same finals week.
Right. You are sharing the same cafeteria, suffering through the same bad coffee, and agonizing over the same exams. This is your fleeting opportunity to interact with them without the usual friction of class barriers.
And that is your primary job when you find yourself in good water. To make friends.
Just to make friends.
We go to these physical spaces to gain people, not to gain knowledge. Knowledge is just the baseline commodity now. The true curriculum is the network.
But I know what you, the listener, might be thinking right now, because my immediate reaction was exactly the same.
Yeah, it can sound a bit off.
It sounds incredibly cynical. It sounds highly transactional. Like if the whole point of going to a seminar or grad school is just hunting for the sons of kings or finding the richest, most well-connected peers in the room so you can leverage them later.
Yeah.
Aren't we just being greedy, predatory networkers?
You're completely right to feel that way. It does sound like predatory networking on the surface.
It really does.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, let's look at the actual mechanics of how human progress scales.
Okay, let's do that.
It is not advocating for manipulation or cynical social climbing. It is advocating for a realistic understanding of how ecosystems work.
Ecosystems. Got it.
A genuine connection with someone influential naturally introduces you to more connections, more diverse ideas, and more resources.
Right.
You aren't hunting marks. You are building an ecosystem of capability. Human capital is the only capital that truly scales exponentially.
That makes a lot of sense.
But, and this is the absolute crux of the philosophy, you cannot build this ecosystem with a greedy heart. The methodology matters just as much as the goal.
Right, because people are highly attuned to social predators.
Oh, absolutely.
If you approach someone purely out of ambition or you try to force a connection just because you know they are a son of a king, they will smell that on you from a mile away.
They'll sense it immediately.
It creates instant repulsion. So how do you actually engage these people without looking like a shark smelling blood in the water?
Well, the secret is surprisingly simple and deeply human.
It's the art of genuine absorption, right?
Yes. It comes down to physical demeanor and sincere receptiveness. You are instructed in the source to literally unwrinkle your face.
Unwrinkle your face. I love that.
To smile, to listen sincerely, and respond with genuine care.
Unwrinkle your face. It's such an actionable physical cue.
It really is.
Even just smiling and being truly receptive to someone's words makes you close to them very quickly. You are signaling safety and openness.
You're bringing human.
Yeah. But if you sit there rigidly, staring straight ahead, treating the interaction like a formal networking transaction where you are just trying to extract value, you suffer a profound loss.
A massive loss.
You gain nothing because the other person instantly closes off.
Furthermore, there's a specific danger in remaining hyper-focused only on academics in these social settings.
Oh, right, the nerd trap.
Exactly. If you are sitting over a cup of tea with these incredible, diverse peers, and the only question you can think to ask them is, how do I study better? Or, what did the professor mean on slide 4? You are actively destroying the value of the environment.
You're killing the vibe.
You are shrinking a multidimensional human interaction down to a textbook index.
There's a brilliant cultural concept in the material for what you become if you do that.
Yes.
You devolve into a jengi.
A jingy.
It translates roughly to like a narrow-minded nerd or a mere technician. You become someone who only knows the rigid mechanics of a subject, but understands absolutely nothing about the human beings who actually drive the world forward.
Exactly.
No one wants to invite a Jangai to collaborate on a groundbreaking project because a Jangai only knows how to process data, not people.
Becoming a Jangi is the ultimate failure in this redefined educational model.
The worst case scenario.
It means you gathered all the data but missed the entire human experience. You treated the physical university like a vending machine for facts, rather than a living ecosystem for relationships.
So what does this all mean?
Let's synthesize it.
If I had to use an analogy to clarify this shift, I'd say it is the difference between being a rigid brick wall versus being a warm sponge.
Oh, I like that. A brick wall versus a sponge.
Right. The traditional student, the one frantically taking notes, agonizing over test scores, and viewing peers as competition, is like a brick wall.
Sure.
Information hits them, they bounce it back onto the test paper, and they remain completely unchanged, isolated, and rigid.
Just deflecting the data.
But the modern learner, the one who sketches the concepts, offloads the rote data to AI, and consciously unwrinkles their face, that student is a warm sponge.
A warm sponge.
They're there to absorb the people, to soak in the tea time conversations, to truly integrate into the environment.
That synthesis is precisely what makes this entirely new approach so compelling.
It changes everything.
It does. The true mark of an educated person today is not how much raw data they can hold in their biological memory.
The AI holds the data.
Exactly. The AI holds the data. The true mark of an educated person is their ability to forge genuine human connections, to synthesize wildly diverse perspectives, and to fluidly navigate complex social environments.
Yeah.
Relying on tools like AI for the raw data isn't cheating. It is simply adapting to the new reality so that your human energy can be spent on things that only a human can do.
Okay, so let's bring this all together for you, the listener. Whether you are currently enrolled in a grad program, whether you are attending a weekend professional development seminar, or even if you're just starting a new job.
Drop the panic.
Drop the frantic note-taking. Stop trying to prove how hard you are working by showing off a thick, crammed notebook.
Yeah.
Look up, sketch the big ideas, map out the broad frameworks.
Let the AI do its job.
Exactly. Let AI do the heavy lifting when it comes to the granular data. And remember, say thank you to it while you're at it, just to keep yourself grounded.
Can't hurt.
But most importantly, redirect all of that saved cognitive energy into absorbing the people around you. Unwrinkle your face, smile, and have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
You are in that room to gain people, not just facts.
It is a profound recalibration of our priorities.
It really is.
But analyzing this heavy emphasis on the physical environment, the literal room, the shared campus cafeteria, the serendipity of the water, it actually leaves us with a massive, looming question for the future of how we work and learn.
Wait, hearing you say that makes me realize something kind of terrifying.
What's that?
If the entire point of formal education is physical presence, if the ultimate irreplaceable value is serendipitous human connection and sharing the quality of the water, what happens to everyone learning on Zoom?
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
What happens to the value of human connection in our increasingly remote, fully online learning and working environments?
That's a huge problem.
How on earth do you find the Sons of Kings? How do you build those life-altering, class-transcending networks when there is no physical campus to share a cup of tea on?
Wow. That entirely changes how we have to think about logging into a virtual classroom or like a remote stand-up meeting, doesn't it?
It sure does.
If the notebooks are blank but the room is also empty, how do we sketch the people? Something for all of us to think about the next time we stare down at a blinking cursor on a screen.